I mentioned it in the reaction of Paddy Pimblett pushing the fight, and he usually does. But I think he actually might have changed his game plan a little bit to manage the distance a little bit more because he noticed Jared Gordon had to come into him. What the fuck is going on, YouTube? First of all, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Kevin Hoop Show. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. But I just got done watching this Paddy Pimblett fight. Quite honestly, I might have been a little wrong on the actual reaction and my first initial reaction to the fight. I definitely think in the back of my head while I was watching the fight, I was a little biased against Paddy Pimblett and for Jared Gordon. Me, myself, I'm someone that is a fan of the comeback. I'm always someone that's going to root for the comeback story or root for the underdog. And I think while I was actually watching it, I kind of in the back of my head wanted him to win. And when I saw him not get the win, I think I was like, how? I thought, I remember the fight a little differently than the fight actually played out. But I rewatched it, and I watched the first round, the second round, and the third round. All three rounds. It's not like they just added a round. But in the first round in particular, I really thought Jared Gordon landed a lot more than he actually did. I think Paddy Pimblett, man, he really actually kind of impressed me with his striking and when I rewatched it. If you see, he keeps Jared Gordon at a really good distance with his left hook. I mentioned it in the reaction of Paddy Pimblett pushing the fight, and he usually does. But I think he actually might have changed his game plan a little bit to manage the distance a little bit more because he noticed Jared Gordon had to come into him. Jared Gordon had to close the distance to be able to actually reach Paddy Pimblett. So Paddy Pimblett was like, all right, bro, I'm just going to stay right here, back up every time you come, kind of like an Israel Adesanya style. So for me, the first round actually went to Paddy Pimblett. And if you look at Jared Cornerman in the second round, at the end of the second, his corner even said, I think you probably lost the first. Which I honestly thought was surprising because in the moment watching the fight, I thought Jared Gordon's mindset or cornerman was telling him you won the first two. That was surprising to me though because in my memory, and I think some of this had a little bit to do with my memory being a little skewed, I really did think that in the moment Jared Gordon had won the first two, and in reality he definitely at most only won the second. So moving into the second round, you see Jared Gordon definitely get a little bit more of his timing together. I think he was definitely hitting a lot more with that right hook. The one thing that I'll say is he connected with Paddy, definitely almost just as much as Paddy connected with him. But I think it was the power behind the shots was not there. If you, number one, look at the difference between the damage of just their faces, Jared Gordon looks like he just went through fucking 5 rounds against Adesanya. Like, he was all busted up. If you just look at Paddy Pimblett and Jared Gordon damage-wise after the fight, just by looking at their faces, Paddy Pimblett looked like he could go do a runway show literally 5 hours afterwards if he wanted to. Jared Gordon, not so much. That dude almost looked like he needed fucking facial surgery like Michael Chandler did after his last fight. So the difference between the damage was definitely there, but I think that the reason that there was not as much damage on Paddy Pimblett is Jared Gordon was just kind of like touching him almost. And yeah, there's UFC gloves, obviously, but I don't think the power was there to really make Paddy be in a spot where he can make more mistakes. And I think Paddy Pimblett really was just really focused on managing the distance. And then obviously in the third round, it definitely wasn't that exciting by any means. There was a little bit of striking in the beginning, but that was quickly, like not that many strikes at all, if any. I don't think Jared Gordon actually got his first significant strike until like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left into the actual round. And that's when John Anik actually says that is Jared Gordon's first actual significant strike this round. I knew Jared Gordon had somewhat of ground control in the third round. I think overall, I definitely thought overall Jared Gordon could have had more ground control. I think he could have went for the takedowns a lot more than he did. And I definitely misremembered his takedowns and when he got the takedowns because I thought he had 3 or 4 minutes of ground control, and in reality, he only had 1, maybe 2 minutes of ground control, if that. And the submission attempts, he didn't really take the back. When he took the back, Paddy Pimblett came back up on him and almost took Jared Gordon's back. And there was no really, Paddy Pimblett wasn't in danger on the ground. And Jared Gordon didn't really land that many significant strikes when he had Paddy Pimblett on bottom on the ground. When it comes to ground control, yeah, Jared Gordon made it hard for Paddy Pimblett to stand up. But Paddy Pimblett still stood up, which you actually, if you're going to be scoring it in a wrestling and jiu-jitsu kind of format, standing up is somewhat, you score points for that if you're the person on bottom. I also want to mention in the first and second round, I didn't hear Paddy really mention an ankle injury or mention that his ankle was hurt in the first or second round or after those rounds. He honestly, after the first round, he said that he was pretty good. The second round, I think he definitely would have been a little bit more exhausted just because, you're going 10 minutes then compared to 5. And if you're going to give Jared Gordon a round, it would definitely be the second round. And if you're going to give Paddy Pimblett a round, you're definitely going to give him the first round. The third round was just, all in all, not that entertaining. So I think out of respect for both guys, you just go off statistics. And Paddy Pimblett had more significant strikes in the third round. And if you really also want to add on to it, the way that the system was formed off of a similar system to boxing and is still scored like that. So I think that if you're going to see significant strikes winning in the end to a decision, I don't think that should be surprising. Like I necessarily gave off when the reaction first happened. I'm coming out with this video saying, hey, I misspoke on my first reaction. This is my actual better judgment of the fights, and I definitely have to tip Paddy Pimblett's win this past weekend at UFC 282. And for anyone criticizing him, I really think, and I wasn't even necessarily criticizing him, I was just saying I really thought it should have went to Jared Gordon. I don't think I said it was a robbery. Maybe I did mention that. If I did, again, I'm sorry, Paddy. I did not mean to say that, but it definitely wasn't a robbery in any means. It definitely was a close fight. It wasn't like Jared Gordon 10-8'd him every round and it was, it still went to Paddy for some reason. It wasn't like that at all. So I do think that you can easily make an argument for either fighter winning this fight. I am not, unhappy with it going to Paddy Pimblett at all. I'm still a Paddy Pimblett fan at the end of the day. I was before, I am after. I'm definitely a Jared Gordon fan. I didn't know who the guy was before this fight. I know who he is now, and I'll be watching his next fight for sure. So hats off to Jared Gordon as well. He fought an absolutely great fight. People just have to stop with that mentality and that hater mindset. And, I would say even me a little bit too. I definitely noticed in the second time I watched the fight, I was a lot more unbiased. I definitely noticed the first time I watched the fight, I was totally rooting for Jared Gordon, basically. And I definitely think I took a step back. And, not everyone takes a step back. Everyone will just continue riding and they won't realize what they're actually saying sometimes. And I definitely noticed I was misspeaking a little bit, which is why I'm coming out with this video. And I do think that it was a close fight at the end of the day. So congrats to both fighters. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Paddy Pimblett next. Will he face a top 15 guy? Will he face a top 10 guy? In my opinion, I think it would probably be more of a top 15 guy to actually get him ranked. I definitely think they're going to slowly bring him into this division. So will his next fight be someone in the top 15? I would put my money on it, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's still a kind of tune-up fight next fight. And it might be in London as well. And if it is in London, I definitely think that the odds on it being more of a tune-up fight and not someone ranked, the chances are higher because they're going to want that fight to be big. They're going to want those fans for that main event to be booming. And I definitely think that fight card in March is going to be a fucking banger. With that being said, though, guys, if you guys do have anything more to say on the Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon fight, let me know in the comments. We are going to be doing a live watch party for the Gordon Ryan grappling event tomorrow, Thursday, December 15th. So tune in to that. That's going to be around 6 or 7 o'clock live Eastern Standard Time around there. I'm not sure 100% on the post. I will upload a post on YouTube tomorrow to let you guys know when I'm live. Don't forget to follow my Instagram, follow my Twitter, links in the description. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and have a great motherfucking day.